Hello, everyone, and welcome into your favorite stream of the week, Keyboard ASMR with Davis Mattek, NerdyTenor, and eventually Brian Hooper. Brian Hooper is not here yet, but he will be here for the next hour and a half, 2 hours. We'll see what everyone's doing. We are going to do UnderDog Battle Royale drafts, daily drafts on UnderDog. We are going to run the Sims that are cooking in Nerdy's brain that he's got cooked up for us. Results week 2, guys. Results week 2 were good. Results last week, they were bad. There was some IKB by me. No Juwan Jennings for me. No Dallas Goedert for me. That was really the issue. No Dallas Goedert in the BR portfolio last week. And Brian, we thought last week was going to be great. We thought last week was going to be easy. We were building only shippers, and it turns out you do need to occasionally scroll or play non-correlated teammates. Pete won the $20 single entry with Jalen Hurts with 11 points, Barkley, but he got Goddard in together. So he got Barkley, Goddard, and Hurts in together. Click, clack. How are we doing today, fellas? Are we excited?
All right. I made a profit on my main slate Battle Royale last week, but I only did 6 drafts because I had family in town. I made $20. Let's go.
Still counts.
I would have last week, I think, to have I went really hard last week. I maxed the Wildcat, I maxed BR, I did all the single entry stuff. I maxed the $25. I think I did about 400 drafts last week, and did not hit on the right combinations, which happens. Dan, what have you done with the Sims yet this week? What is going to be different from weeks past?
So I've added another projection source. So now I have 3. Brian, we want to tell them what I added?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
so I added some Run the Sims in there. So now I've got 3 sources, and Run the Sims is one. So for today, I've got Sims blending all 3, and I've also got them with just Run the Sims. We can see what they're up to, and I've got that for the main, and I've also got it for Thursday, Sunday.
Okay.
Did you get to Run the Sims the play-by-play or just the projection?
Play-by-play Run the Sims.
Yeah. So
all right. So that should be fairly interesting. Guys, if you are not subscribed to the EndGame Syndicate YouTube channel or the Brian Hooper YouTube channel, if you're watching this on the Davis Mattek channel, make sure to subscribe there. And Brian, before we even get into it, why don't you tell the people a little bit about what you guys have going on over at EndGame Syndicate? Do your salesman pitch.
We got DFS best ball training videos from me, Nerdy, Utica, and Adam. Ship My Money, DFS. We also have the draft caddy over there too, and we're building stuff on the back end that you guys don't see. So hopefully in a month or two there'll be some new stuff. But for now, trading videos, we got related to this. We did a uncorrelated toy game series based on Dan's code on equilibrium strategies on how to beat uncorrelated basketball games. So people who like this might like those videos. And we're going to do more. I think correlated's next when Dan gets some time.
Yeah, we might just use these two gamers and just do those and study them. I think they're perfect for it, and they're small enough. Get in there.
Yeah, doing these is I think helpful too, to kind of look and see how the projections influence everything and stuff like that too. So
yeah,
I agree. Doing these has made me think about salary cap DFS a little bit differently, and kind of just because I'm such a Neanderthal, like I don't really know what a sim is doing. So just even trying to think about what a sim is driving at based on the game type. Not to say that my results in season long or in weekly salary cap DFS have been that good. Although I think my teams are better. I would guess that if you guys looked at some of my teams in your stuff from last year to this year, I would guess I'm playing a little bit better. But let's go ahead and hop into it.
My
hop
mouse,
into our-
my mouse is dying. I'm just going to replace the batteries real quick.
Okay,
That's
just as
fine.
long as that keyboard keeps humming. That's all.
As long as the keyboard keeps humming, that's obviously it's obviously a huge part. I have a couple guesses for who I think is going to be the Ramondre Stevenson of this week.
Yes. We should talk about that right at the top.
So I do think Deontay Johnson is a pretty early favorite to be the Ramondre, where it's like it's going to be like round 2, and it's going to be like, all right, it's time to take Deontay Johnson. And I also think I just did the DFS podcast with Jakob. I think Travis Etienne is projected much higher than the field has him. I believe right now in Battle Royales, he is the 15th running back who goes off the board. I've not used Run the Sims projections yet this week, so we will see. But those are my guesses right now.
So
Yeah.
do you want to look at the blended one first, or do you want to go just straight to Run the Sims ish?
Let's do the blended. Let's do blended first, and just kind of
Okay,
see.
so I'll tell you I'll just front load who's popping. Looks like Jordan Mason is popping a lot.
That makes sense. He's pretty highly drafted. Both those guys are pretty highly drafted.
But it's going to want to take them earlier than everybody. Just sneak preview. So
that is those two players. See, Dan, we've now reached. I must be inside the Sims because those are two players that I am comfortable taking. I would take Rashee Rice 101.
Rice is right up there.
Yeah,
but that's a good example where we've seen before where you might not take him and hope to get him around later, depending on what people are doing. But you've been in the streets more than I have. Also, go ahead.
Not as much this week. I think I'm like 100 total drafts in right now, so that is less than I would have been each of the last 2 weeks. Have you drafted any yet, Brian?
Oh, just like one. Now that we got ownership cooking, though, I'll probably start doing some more. I was gonna wait for like Nerdy to give me like an optimal percentage for each player too, and then I could use ownership and optimal percentage. I don't want to use my brain, but this week actually is the week where I probably would start using my one no ball. No, it's not no ball. I guess it's I know better. I think this is like the week where you start taking guys who should be doing well but haven't.
Travis Kelce,
Trey McBride.
that's the other thing.
Yeah, let's flag the NFL injury stuff. So McBride.
Okay. So AJ Brown, I believe, is going to be in on your projections. I don't think he's playing.
I think some of mine have him and some don't. So it won't get picked probably.
And Trey McBride is just a 0. He's not playing. Guys don't play with concussions.
He's
anymore.
Not playing. Okay.
Yeah.
Trey McBride-esque.
I feel like there was something else. Wasn't there something else with Philadelphia unknown?
So Devonta Smith started out the week getting drafted and getting projected in, but I believe he is projected out everywhere. Yeah, it's a huge Q tag slate. Swaps are going to be very important. So just like however you have your swap ranking set up on Sunday is going to be very. I mean, Joe Mixon is Q. We actually saw how much he got used in week 1. That could be a total slate changer. Is if Joe Mixon ends up being ruled in after being undrafted all week and there's not another, I don't believe there's a highly drafted Q tag running back right now. That could be a total slate changer on Friday and Saturday. So that we will deal with as we get in. Let's go ahead. Oh, this is okay. It was doing this to me yesterday, and I got so frustrated. I finally just started entering them on my phone. I think a refresh normally fixes it. Yeah,
I have about a 50-50 success rate with the refresh method. Like sometimes yes, sometimes no.
They can't. Kamara also missed practice. I read that like a veteran rest day. We'll see. But yeah, Kamara being ruled out, that would be another one that would be. I mean, it would be absolutely massive. Like that would influence the projections for Olave. It would influence the projections for Taysom Hill. Like Taysom Hill would become a complete total must play. So I guess we're going to get more information about that this afternoon.
Who's their backup running? Is it Miller's?
He's on IR. It is Jamal Williams.
Oh,
but I would not. I think Jamal Williams. Something I really got wrong last week, and I want this to be instructive on my process moving forward. Is like Sure. I probably got very good ownership on Cam Akers the way it worked last week. Like, however it breaks down in BR, I probably had unique Cam Akers teams. But Cam Akers is just never generating a BR winning score. Like, he could have gotten 30 rushes last week and would not have generated an optimal score in Battle Royale. So I am going to take that as a clear mistake I made last week and learn. I'm gonna try and get better. I agree with this. I think the Saints running back you want is tight end eligible. I think I agree with that. All right, we are on the clock, Dan. Who do we want to take first overall?
It's saying there's a lot of choices. Williams, Mason, Rice, Bijan, all rating out Brees Hall, all rating out pretty similarly. So it
doesn't like Barkley.
Let me look again. It's close. It likes him a little bit less.
I'm going to do Barkley just because you only get that many 101s, and yep. I like Barkley personally, but I will not do that every time. If we get the 101 again, I won't do that every time.
So interestingly, when I've played with this, it does not, from an EV perspective, it has not been real happy with having the first pick.
That completely makes sense to me this week because the available picks at the 2-3 turn, 12, like 11, 12, 13, 14, there's a pretty big drop off in my opinion. And if it's uncertain at the 101, which I think it's okay to be uncertain at the 101, I think you could make an argument for Jefferson. I think you could make an argument for Kamara, Rashee Rice, Jordan Mason, Kyren Williams. Like I think you can. So if that's the case, if you can make an argument that way, then I think that is telling you the first pick is bad. Also, I wonder, I don't know how you exactly built this. I'm wondering if your stuff is weighing in not wanting Saquon Barkley with his teammates, Jalen Hurts and Dallas Goedert, who are selections around 12 and 13. Would your stuff be weighing that?
It should. So different projection sources I handle are more or less sophisticated about those kinds of correlations. So I would imagine something like Run the Sims is going to be a little smarter about that than some of the other sources I use where I have to sort of hack it together myself.
Okay.
But yes, in theory, it should all be factored in there. It's just a question of how accurately.
For sure. Okay. Justin Jefferson goes 2, Brees goes 3, Bijan goes 4, Kamara, Chase, Nico, Kyren.
Yep. All these running backs dropping, which for what it's worth, my code agrees with that right now.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope that we were able to select Rashee Rice. I don't think we're going to be able to. Mason is a very good click here as well. So we're gonna have back-to-back picks here on the turn after KRJ 122 picks.
I want to go over some buy low picks still.
Okay.
Throw some names at you.
Okay.
I don't even know if they're on the slate or injured or whatever. But what about Amon-Ra St. Brown? See, you think he's a buy low?
Not on the slate, but definitely a good pick in my opinion.
How about Drake London?
Not as much for me.
Okay,
we are up.
Pick. Again, it's got a lot that are really close. Jonathan Taylor, Goddard is up there. Najee Harris, Brandon Ayuk.
There you go. There's Najee. Najee is the Ramondre.
ATN.
Well, not yet. We gotta let it draft a few drafts before you.
It doesn't hate taking Jaden Daniels here either.
Okay, that is almost kind of my preferred angle. So we took Goddard.
Okay, let me see what it says.
So we have those two together, which I think this week is fine. I think specifically those 2 weeks, these two together is fine.
Okay.
We're gonna add Daniels to the team. So we've got Barkley, Goddard, and Jaden Daniels.
Davis, I didn't know you were like that fantasy football player who watches the week before, and when whoever goes off, you just take them the next week.
Here's the thing. I did a BR show with Pete on Monday before Jaden Daniels even played, and I told him this is a great week to draft early because after this game tonight, Jaden Daniels is going to be a second-round pick. You can go back. You can go back and check
video evidence.
You can go back and check the tape. I told Peter that, and lo and behold, boy do I know ball. Boy do I know ball.
This guy's already picked, but Nico Collins. How about?
Yeah,
I guess he's not that low if he's going in the.
He's not really a buy low guy. He just didn't score a touchdown last week. I said he was going to be quarterback 4. I'm wrong. He's quarterback 3. He's quarterback 3. So I'm
How about Brandon Ayuk?
Yeah, I think my stuff likes him. Let me dump my current extremely rough ADPs here. Just when you're reading these out, I can look at them.
Yeah.
So Brandon Ayuk is one of those ones that loves.
The projections are going to love him, and the projections have George Kittle out right now. I think George Kittle is probably going to play, but that shouldn't materially impact really how we treat him in this because his ADP is low enough that he's a 5th, 6th round pick.
Yeah, my stuff is taking him really early, like 14th or something. Which that's a good example of one where, like, if you think you know something, like assuming my stuff is right, maybe you just keep that in your back pocket for a round 4 or round 5.
To be honest,
there he goes in round 4.
So that's what I was going to say is, honestly, I think the opportunity, like after like 10 picks in BR, I think opportunity cost is like very low of just like starting to scroll and taking whoever you want. I think almost no chance McBride plays. Guys, the modern NFL guys just very rarely play the next Sunday after going in concussion protocol. I can really not think of very many times it's happened in like the last 5 years. All right, we are up. Jalen Hurts goes. I was going to be interested to see if it wanted me to take Jalen Hurts, and then Stephon Diggs goes.
Okay, now it's saying Etienne Jr., Deontay Johnson.
There you go.
Brian Robinson Jr., Garrett Wilson. It likes Deontay Johnson a little bit better than the other ones I just listed, but it's close.
Yeah. I prefer Deontay Johnson from that list. I don't love.
Take him.
Let's see
what it says when I restart after that pick.
I don't love Brian Robinson Jr. with Jaden Daniels, but I don't hate it.
Yeah, it's not that high up. It likes Jonathan. Here's the order. Jonathan Taylor's at the top of it at the moment.
Jonathan Taylor. Well, Jonathan Taylor is a pretty good buy. That's a buy low pick for you, Brian.
He had a good week, didn't he? Didn't he have a good one?
He's not projected very well this week.
No, I mean by low, I mean like they had a high ADP in best ball going into the season, and they haven't performed up to that.
Well, Kelsey has got to be the best version of that. Worthy Kelsey. Yeah.
So, yeah, just flagging the comment above Crutch's one there. Like, if you take a running back in the first 2 rounds, then the later receivers are very comparable to each other. You see this dynamic a lot. We saw this a lot looking at our toy games where there's usually a point at which the differences in player values really flatten out. And that's precisely where you should be mixing things up the most from a theoretical perspective, because it costs you the least to do so, right? So yeah, that makes sense.
Although Davis doesn't have it, I don't know if you put the latest version, Davis.
I did. It's there.
I don't see it. Oh,
yeah,
okay. Got it. I see it.
It's there.
I thought that was total.
I promise you, beyond promising, that Dan's model is not selecting last week's scores. You could say it is an imperfect model. You could say you would not want to draft the teams that it wants to draft. It's not selecting last week's scores.
It most certainly is highly imperfect.
It has one input: last week's scores.
That's it. It's actually just a model that sorts by last week's scores. Dan is doing a lot of clicking to just every time he Googles fantasy points last week, DraftKings. That's
This,
it.
this team would have won you a ton of money last week, though.
Well, it would. Well,
What do you mean?
yes, it would
That's like all the nuts.
It did.
like
Oh, wait, I didn't look too closely at the.
That's the straight nuts.
62% projected ownership for Garrett Wilson. I gotta say, I'm pretty into personally. This Terry McLaurin ownership is going to end up being low. It's going to go higher because people are taking him so often with Jaden Daniels, who is rising in ADP. But it is pretty interesting.
In my stuff, Garrett Wilson is taken like 87% of the time.
Okay. Sorry, I closed off
probably
the draft for you there.
It's okay. I've been managing. See, if I draft the day before, then I get all of the names in my head, and then I can sort of tell, even if the text is small, what's going on.
He's locked in, dude. He's in the Matrix. Nerdy is in the Sims right now.
I know ball, bro.
You do, yeah. Dan knows ball. Okay, Richardson goes. So we have to select a wide receiver.
Okay, let me see who's coming up. It's given Terry McLaurin, Drake London, Garrett Wilson. That's the order it has right now. They're pretty close.
I think I'll totally take McLaurin, but like
they're really
I only want to
like pennies.
I only want to have I'll do McLaurin. I like literally because I agree with this. I think McLaurin and Daniels is like far and away the most overrepresented pairing. I think it'll end up being one of the most owned, if not the most owned pairings of the whole.
Why don't we look at the ownership? Why don't you go to rankings and just go over the ownership really quick?
Okay. What display?
Yeah.
I think so.
You gotta select the slate. Down, main slate.
Okay. So quarterback, we've got Kyler Murray, 93%.
Let me do some comps here. I'll bring mine up just for comparison. All right.
Yeah, I agree. Give me Ertz Daniels over that. I 100% agree with that.
Kyler Murray, I'm 92%.
So it drops off after Stroud.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
Let me make this bigger. Yeah,
I don't
give me some small numbers to compare. I'm just curious at the bottom end of the distro what it's like.
I don't use the words generational wealth all that often, but Anthony Richardson was literally the weeks 1, weeks 2, weeks 3, like #1 Sims say, get this guy, jam him in. He's got 2 bad games in a row, and he's got this tough matchup against the Steelers. He's 2% owned. Yeah. Matchup does not matter for Anthony Richardson. Either he runs for 2 touchdowns or he doesn't. He's a pretty good play, I think.
Interesting. My stuff's got him at 5%. So I think that's a pretty big difference.
I think if the Equilibrium Sims that Dan's doing knew the ownership here, that there was dramatic drop off, it might be different.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So if because it's like it looks like a shelf, this ownership. So
yeah,
it might not be playing that way.
Where does it first really drop off? I can't see that number super well.
If you go up, it's Burrow.
Okay.
Because it goes Stroud 80-some%, Burrow 50%, and then it starts dropping off.
Okay, so I've got Burrow around 54, so that's not too far.
I don't even want to highlight this because I don't want people to get woke for this, but Jaden Reed is the single best pick in Battle Royale this week.
Huh.
He is 11% projected ownership by EndGameSyndicate.com in the draft caddy, and he is going to end up being 15% owned in salary cap DFS.
Mm-hmm.
You guys tell me if this is insane or so non-mathematical. My thinking is that guys who end up being way over-owned or very owned at mid-tier salaries and salary cap DFS, directionally, they have to almost have like better ceilings than what BR ownership is capturing. because that flows in from SIMS and that flows in from projections, from like ETR projections, solver SIMS and whatnot, which must be ascribing a better range of outcomes than BR drafters are ascribing for them. Is that too stupid?
I think that the only thing you missed there is the effect of salaries on lineup constructions, right? So that's where it starts to get tricky. So you have to look at like, because it trickles through the rest of a DFS contest. So like what's available in that salary range, and like what kinds of constructions might it crowd out. So I think it's a little tricky. I don't know, Brian. What do you think?
Definitely, it's definitely tricky. But I'll just like kind of make an adjacent point with our ownership will update throughout the week, and so like Reid's 11 here, but we talked about Zach Charbonnet on Lulz last week. He was 25%, and he ended at 80. And and we updated. We were updating that whole time, and it was tracking. But just if you think you're getting them at 11%, once Davis and Pete or whoever start talking about him, I'd expect that number to be 30 or something. But just keep.
Pete will do his video on the Deposit Kingdom on Friday, I believe is when he does it, and Jaden Reid will be one of his. I believe he calls them skeleton keys. So yeah, it's gonna go higher.
Would you care to guess what my EQ strat thinks the fair ownership is for Jaden Reid?
Yeah.
Yes, I would be.
Take a guess.
30.
27.
It's got 34.3.
Yeah.
My guess is depending on how hard these guys push, it's going to be between 25 and 50.
But yeah,
it'll be the final number. That's why that EQ number would be sweet to add to this. That would be sweet.
We could do that. The good thing about there's a lot that's has to necessarily approximate with my software that I'm using here because the game is so large and complicated. But I think something like efficient ADP is worth considering, because hopefully in aggregate, all of the little mistakes in the fake drafts might cancel each other out to some degree, and you get something that's reasonable. So yeah, I agree that would be useful to add at some point.
And these guys are hand builders, like they're basically every BR guy's a hand builder. So
yeah, I don't think
numbers more than suggestions might be more appealing to them. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah. No, that is 100% true. Brian, that's actually what a cogent point. Yeah. Everyone in BR basically is hand building. Yeah. They're looking at the Sims, they're checking projections, but when they're in, I mean, maybe five guys in the pool. Some people auto, but even
just me.
No, I know there are some guys in the Badge Bros Discord who are autoing or using some type of simulation thing. But even autoing is hand building in this context, because the computer's not doing it for you. It's still basically you clicking it, more or less.
Yeah, it's sort of like halfway, I guess. I assume a lot of it informed by people's analytics. How they set up that auto draft strategy is probably informed by stuff like what I'm doing. I would imagine. But
well, I mean, I don't want to toot our own horn, but we are influencing ADP in these contests. Like after we did the Ramondre Stevenson one, he went from being undrafted to, I think he ended that slate at the running back 11 or something like that. So it definitely, it's definitely playing out a little bit there. All right, are we ready to run another one?
Do we want to continue blending, or do we want to switch to
let's switch.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see what we get.
Switch over. It is reasonably different. And my motivation for doing these blends is mostly just to get rid of outlier effects. Like each new source I add, it's going to blunt when somebody has something strange. So
let's do a blended one, because they're updating right now. I'm on their website. They're literally updating their SIMs.
All right.
And
Okay.
they're usually done after a couple minutes, so might as well do.
All right, and then I'm gonna have to rerun after that, which is fine. It'll take me just a few minutes to get it started.
Or you could just rock the old one. It's up to you.
Okay. Let's continue with the blended one for now.
Okay.
Just
And I hope it tells me to start taking some Jaden Reed, because now that we've given away the goods to 193 people live, then we are I'm not gonna be able to get him every time.
okay, where are
Yeah,
we?
his ADP will go up a couple clicks.
See, I really prefer this, because we're gonna be able to get two guys who I think are contentions for being the 101 when we pick 6.
We talked about this on you got the last pick. We talked about this on Lulz last week, kind of like this pari-mutuel sports betting effect in BRs, because like the difference in BBMs is if you got Jalen Reed before Davis and Pete churched him up, he's not in your pod in a bunch of your pods. Sure, he's still going to be in 30% of every BBM.
But pods don't matter.
They matter for getting out of the pods. It matters more than in BR. BR doesn't matter at all.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's no pod effect in this.
This is my point. Yeah, we're just talking backwards here. Yeah, so like in like there's a lot of benefit, but there's this pari-mutuel effect like horse betting in BRs where, yeah, sure, there's no Reid getting drafted in your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday drafts, but he's still going to be in 30%. You're still playing against 30% lineups no matter what. Now, I guess there could be an effect where he's not drafted Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then he's drafted the rest of the days, but not to the level he should be still. So like could be.
The thing that gums up that is the swap stuff. Is that he might by Sunday end up being the number one swap, and there are multiple wide receivers with the Q tag this week. That is something that Dan could solve for. That could be very beneficial.
No, we're up.
We're up.
It wants you to take a running back. Bijan, Mason, Kamara, Kyron. Those are at the top of its list right now. And
you tell me the top one.
Right now it says Bijan, but it's very tight.
Done.
Okay, Bijan goes, and come on, there we go. What does it want next? Okay, so you could do another running back, or you could do Nico Collins, or you could do Goddard. Why does it like Goddard here? It's interesting.
Because the tight end projections suck, and he has like a pretty good projection.
Yeah, running backs, Collins, and
no, too late.
I took Kyron.
Okay.
Kyron.
Yep.
I think literally every player who's gone thus far: Barkley, Brees, Rice, Jefferson, Chase, Kyron. I would include Marvin Harrison. I would include Kamara. I would include Nico, and I would include Mason in this. Is like a legitimate candidate that you could take at 1. Like I would be like, if you just did that this week, I'd be like, sure, whatever, ball. And then there is a giant drop off after Kamara goes. I think there's like a gulf of like, in my mind, I don't know, it'd be like 2 or 3 points. And then now we're in like no man's land.
Interesting.
What could be a useful feature, Dan, like, or obviously useful, but like realistic, is the 3-name suggestions, but then with the changing percentage, like instead of EV, or you could use EV, whatever number you want, but like it's like, oh, all 3 of these are like really close, so it doesn't really matter. Where one, it'll be like, you really need to get this guy, but here's your other 2 suggestions.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. Especially since like this takes a ton of computing power and is very approximate and noisy. Like you shouldn't be taking seriously differences in single-digit percent. Like they're probably just noise, right? So I totally agree.
Some like maybe like confidence or and you could kind of like bring it down, like average it or something, so like it's very close.
Yeah. I do have some ideas there. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna. This is more of a procedural thing. I've started to do timestamps on these videos, like on videos on my channel. I don't know, like I don't know what people would even want them in this, like if they're just having it on in the background or whatever. But if you guys want timestamps for this, leave a comment or say something in the chat or something, and I will start tracking timestamps for these. All right, we are about back up. Since we picked last, Marv, Mason, Nico, Kamara, Godwin, Daniels, Hurts, Goddard, and Bowers go. We have one pick, and then we are up on the clock. We can't take any more running backs.
Nope.
I wish we could just take 6. I love
Okay,
Kelsey goes. It's
All
a
right.
bit annoying.
So now you could. Okay. Brandon Ayuk is popping, followed by Brandon Ayuk. Kyler Murray is up there. Olave is appearing. Cole Kmet is appearing.
Cole Kmet, that's a scroll.
That's weird.
Well, not too much of a scroll, I suppose.
Yeah, it's got Olave, Schultz, Kmet, Murray, Ayuk.
Oh, okay. I took Ayuk.
Ayuk.
Okay. All right. Now
I'm wondering if it wants us to double up. Yeah, I wonder what it wants us to do now.
Or push QB.
It's got Garrett Wilson, Diggs, Pitts, Deontay Johnson, and then Stroud is next.
Let's do Pitts.
All right, Pitts.
Well, Pitts and Bijan's probably bad together.
Pitts finished 4th out of that list after it ran a little bit.
All right. Well, that was on me. That was bad.
I can't type fast enough.
No, that was on me not having structural awareness and remembering that we had Bijan.
Yeah.
I actually probably on this one would have done Stroud because I might be the last person left on Earth scrolling down for Tank Dell this week. Feels like I'll be on a real island with that one.
Wasn't there some injury news with him as well?
He didn't practice yesterday, but I think he's fine. Yeah, pairing teammates is not that bad when it's a tight end. It's probably fine. But it's like, there are only so many touchdowns available. And I believe they have a 22-point team total. So there's only so many touchdowns available. I'm curious about this. Why would it have liked Olave for the first pick, but then we took Ayuk and then it didn't like Olave anymore?
It's probably just noise, honestly. And it's a combination of noise. It's going to be noisier earlier in the process. And so once more of the picks have been made, like the universe of possibilities gets narrowed and it gets a little less noisy. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
no, that it does make sense. I was wondering if it was something about like Ayuk and Olave occur a lot in your Sims and it doesn't make how. Yeah,
that could totally be as well.
Well, there you go. Fun's over. Fun's over. We had a good run. I decided we clicked live, and now we don't get to have fun anymore.
Okay, we're up. So now it's giving. It likes your EV. It's giving Wilson and Diggs and Stroud and Juwan Jennings as top picks right now.
I'm making it a rule on here. I'm not taking Juwan Jennings.
Okay.
I'm taking a stance.
So are we gonna do Stroud then?
We're gonna do Stroud, and
okay,
I'm hoping
that and let it recompute with the rest.
I'm hoping that it tells me to take Diggs because
it does. It's telling you to take Diggs. It says Diggs. Yeah.
That
by about $1.
So people who are really tuned in, if they've been watching this since we first started doing them, that is a change because when we first started doing these, it did not always want us to do the pairing.
Yeah. Well, and we haven't done enough of these to really get a good sample, honestly. But yeah, it wants Diggs by a good here.
Okay. Yeah. Dan is again, please. I'm so you gotta excuse. These are probably very basic questions for you.
No, not at all.
Is the thing that you are building, is it learning from every draft we do? Is it taking in the feedback from that and using that to calculate moving forward?
It is calculating forward from every pick you've made in your draft. Yeah.
What? No. So what I mean is, so we do this draft and we start
Okay.
the next one.
Uh-huh.
Is it taking that information in?
No, it's not
Are
doing
they
that.
independent?
That would be a really good thing to add. It's tricky to know how to. So ideally, you would be updating your simulated field with actual drafts, right?
Right.
So the simplest thing is to just throw one in. Like you do one draft, you throw that one in. But in a 68,000 person draft, that's not going to move anything. Really, what you would want to do is to do some kind of smart Bayesian thing where you look at the drafts you've seen and make some inferences about the field and adjust it. That's I have some ideas there, but that's sort of like a big project to figure out how to do that intelligently, I think. But I think as a human being, you can absolutely use that. Like you do 10 drafts. I mean, it's not statistically significant compared to 60,000+, but you can still probably learn quite a lot just knowing how human beings behave and how these drafts tend to go. Like, I think you can figure out a lot even with a small number of drafts potentially. Shall we switch? Go ahead.
Yeah. No. Let's switch.
Okay, we're gonna switch to Run the Sims. Our elves tell us that nothing has actually changed, that it was just a loop. So I'm going to switch over.
Okay.
So Davis, the question you just asked him, like, so you have, like, let's say you do 10 drafts, you have 10 real drafts, and people are like, oh, wow, okay, now I have, because this is the difference between a contest sim and an equilibrium sim, where the contest sim's trying to guess what your opponents are doing, like exactly. Like they have these 10 lineups, and how is the best play against these 10 lineups? Where equilibrium sim is saying, if my opponent's played optimally,
right?
How should I play to lose the least or whatever? So if you had 10 lineups out of 60,000,
it wouldn't mean anything.
How much different is that than just guessing the 60,000 based on ADP and making your own field?
Yeah,
it's probably not that much.
Well, so what I'm wondering is, and again, this shows how little I know. The thing I'm wondering is there a difference in? Well, and you're saying no. Is the difference between a simmed lineup versus knowing what the real actual behavior is as Dan is inputting the picks? Like how, and there wouldn't even be a way to balance that out between the two things, the difference between the simmed lineups and what opponents are actually doing in an equilibrium sim.
It wouldn't be equilibrium anymore.
No.
Sure.
It would be something else. It'd be a more exploitative approach.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's exploitative, but I don't even have the word. Yeah, because so my assumption is that the correct way to play these games right now in September of 2024 is in an exploitative way, because I think people are making mistakes. And
that's always going to be the case.
Yes. Yeah. But that's not what the sim is doing. The sim is saying everyone else is drafting correctly.
Yeah. Right. This is a really, really complicated question. And I don't want to give tips to other people, but like probably a combining of the two for predicting would be the best.
That's what I was asking, and I don't even know if it's possible, basically.
Of course it is. I think the hard part is, so the nice thing about using equilibrium strategies, well, one of the nice things is there's this very strong theoretical basis for it. So we can reason about it very cleanly. Anytime you get into exploitation, you're modeling people. And that just massively makes it much harder, and it makes it much harder to make confident statements about what to do, because there's so much guesswork involved. So it's absolutely worthwhile. I am trying to figure some stuff out there, but it's hard.
The larger the field, the less confident, the less accurate you have to be too. So like the smaller the field, and modeling other opponents is really tricky, except unless I think when you get to like this micro fields, like 3-mans or 5-mans, then maybe you can really get to know your opponent and project out what they'll do. But so like the larger fields where where contest sims are better because you could be more general and get kind of closer, but you're still like going to be way off when you compare it.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, what the hybrid of doing these things would do for this game would be how to exploit your opponents who are playing suboptimally. You know, that's kind of what you're so if I know and it's hard to guess, it's hard to know like, okay, what specific mistakes are my opponents going to make? Then that becomes difficult. Yeah. No,
if it
are
knew,
not taking any of this into account. It can only know the projected number that we put in for them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So if the projections are Run the Sims has them projected out, then he's going to be 0. You know. I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to comment on your comment, but it doesn't matter. We can move on.
Sweet.
All right, Dan, are we ready?
We are. We've got Run the Sims loaded now.
All right.
Actually, make sure I'm looking at the right thing. Yes, I am.
The Sims. Vibes base lock.
Yeah.
Rashi Rice.
What's your model say about the vibes of this slate? Dan?
My vibes say
probably nothing.
How dare you? You think my model can't account for the vibes? I will say I find this slate mentally, like, I just think this is harder. Like, I've had really strong conviction takes each of the first 3 weeks. Like, oh, I just scroll down for this guy every time. I scroll down for this guy every time. I feel less confident in that, mostly because my backup every week we've done this has been, oh, well, if I just don't know what to do, I take Stroud and then I take one of Diggs or Dell. And I don't know if I feel as good about that. And also, you can't get Diggs every time now. So it used to be you could get Diggs every time. So it'd just be like, well, whatever. If I'll take round 5, I'll take Stroud, Diggs. And you can't do Diggs every time. And I feel good about Dell, but I don't want to show up on Sunday with 40% of him, I think. So relatively speaking, I'm a little in the wilderness compared to how we've been the last couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, B-Rob was my first take of the week, but he's a little bit more expensive now. So Brees goes first.
Okay.
Some buy low names after
it's giving Rashi Rice, Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson, Justin Jefferson in 4th, tied with Nico Collins.
I think we're just gonna take Rashi Rice, brother.
Yeah, sure. Done.
I wonder what it will do with Mahomes and with Kelsey now.
Me too.
Curious.
Same.
Yeah, Rashi is probably my my number one stand of the week. There's my vibe space take. My vibe space take is Rashi Rice.
My Sims seem to agree.
The Sims no ball. Yeah, this is my other vibe space take, is that look at some of these names that Juwan Jennings is going over in drafts. Juwan Jennings is going ahead of Devontae Adams, Drake London, Amari Cooper, George Pickens, T. Higgins, Jaden Reed, Roma Dunze, Tank Dell. Literal insanity. Literal. You don't get people playing that bad at fantasy sports games anymore. That is really bad.
Yes, it does account for the vibes, my software.
It does.
Vibatron 3000 is running in the background.
I mean, Juwan Jennings probably has to project for about 8 points.
Yeah, that's really weird. People are weird.
Well, didn't you just see him score 44 points? Don't you know? No, that Ayuk likes the Sims. Or Sims
like Brandon, yeah. They like him.
Yeah. It's gonna like him less when Kittle comes into projections, but it will still like him. He still is gonna project well. He's not gonna be bad.
Okay, we're almost up. Okay, Marvin Harrison does. Okay. So now it's liking, okay, Goddard, Deontay Johnson, Kyron Williams, Brian Robinson, Kyler Murray. Oh, no, he just bounced back down. Jonathan Taylor, Goddard, Deontay, all in there.
Who's number 1?
Right now it's Jonathan Taylor.
Well, I took Goddard because I was too slow. My fingers were too slow.
He ended first anyway by like 8 cents.
All right, I've just picked up 8 cents of EV by my fingers being too slow.
Okay.
You might get Taylor on the comeback here.
Yeah.
Taylor doesn't even get drafted every time.
Really? I'm gonna look at that number later.
Well, what is it? What do I have, Matt?
97.8.
Okay, Jalen Hurts goes. So
There could be statistical.
yeah, it could be nice. It's saying Deontay Johnson, Brandon Ayuk, Jaden Reed. Mahomes is down there with Jaden Daniels. Yeah.
Who's at half top?
Deontay Johnson at the moment.
Quick fingers. Quick fingers.
Yeah, the sim can't teach that.
The sim can't teach that, brother. Unowned Chuba is pretty good, probably.
What do I have?
Someone in Pete's Discord predicted that Deontay Johnson would be the Ramondre this week, so I think that looks like a good take.
Although it's not as strong. I think Ramondre was very strong.
Well, you were using Cardi stuff that week, and Cardi had him projected. I remember looking up. He had him projected for 18.68 points, which is about 4 points higher than every other outlet. Now, I will go on the record as saying I think we might be a little bit over our skis here on Deontay Johnson. Like, he's a good play. I don't know. I don't know if Deontay Johnson should be a 96% drafted player who goes ahead of Brandon Ayuk. You know, but what can you do? It's true. The Sims literally only work if you have quick fingers. This whole exercise, if Dan was not so good at typing, this whole exercise would go to 0.
It's true. Yeah. You know, if we bank one of these, if we bank one of these, I'll finally have enough money to buy a more ergonomic, quiet keyboard. So, I mean,
I don't think people want it, man. I think there are 202 acolytes of the Church of Dan's Keyboard, man.
How dare you use that word in front of me?
Just trying to trigger you, Brian.
Okay.
All right, we're up.
Who won? Robinson Jr. won? Okay.
Yeah, Robinson Jr.
So obviously the next player already has a quarterback, so we're not taking Mahomes yet. So it has Tank Dell, Olave, George Pickens, Drake London, Garrett Wilson. Lots of wide receiver choices that it likes similarly.
It wants us to take 3 wide receivers.
It does. Interesting, huh?
Oh, it took Jaden Reed. That's very interesting because I basically never do that, like, ever.
Interesting.
Like, if the field is doing it 20% of the time, I'm still half the field.
Yeah, I think for whatever reason, Run the Sims is a little higher on receivers than the blend I had. So it went Godwin and then what? It doesn't
DJ
matter.
Moore.
Doesn't matter because it's a receiver. Okay, so now it just wants you to take Mahomes. Yeah. Or Jordan Love.
You know what?
It actually makes Love a little bit more.
I was gonna say that is more fun. Let's do that. Because I don't think I've taken Love yet. We'll do Love. Big question here. How does one go about creating one of these Sims? I was thinking about this the other day, and I was like, Davis, you're getting in the Sims, you're using all these programming. You would be so lost if someone sat you down at a computer with a pot of coffee and a Red Bull and a pack of nicotine gum and said, you have 24 hours, create a DFS contest sim. I literally don't think I could do it. I truly think 24 hours and the world's greatest computer and nicotine and caffeine, I still don't think I could do it.
Well, what I'm working on now took a long time to get. Like, it's not just like, could you sit down from 0 and make it? Like, there's all the things I tried that didn't work. So,
I mean, I'm saying, Dan, I don't even know what actual applications and programs on my computer I would need to get
Oh,
started. I'm saying you're thinking about building it from what you know. I'm saying
Sure.
I'm literally sitting here being like, I don't know what program to download on my computer to get there.
Yeah. Well, I feel lost too, just in a different way.
I just did a video on R for noobs on our site. So
Yes.
I did see that in our joint StreamYard, and I was like, maybe I should watch that.
So if you're very beginner, you might want to watch that just to get, because you got to start somewhere. First there's really two problems. First, let's do the pick.
Yeah.
Oh, are we up?
Yeah, we're up in one pick. So whatever running back Dan wants.
Right.
Yeah, my experience of asking ChatGPT is not 100% accurate, so I don't even know if it would get me.
Yeah, but if you're a beginner, that's still not going to help you.
Exactly.
Okay. Who is it like? It's giving me Travis Etienne, Aaron Jones, J.K. Dobbins so far. Dobbins winning. Etienne winning. Etienne winning. Dobbins winning. It's mixing. Zach Moss made an appearance. There's a bunch of choices.
I was waiting for permission to take Zach Moss. So there we go.
Look at that. The ownership difference. It's crazy.
It's not.
I can't see the number. What was it?
4.4.
For Zach Moss?
It's not right though.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah, it's too low.
Let me see
what do you think it should be?
So Equilibrium
33.
Equilibrium says 28 for Zach Moss. Yeah. Interesting.
That feels right. That feels both directionally accurate and like what the field is doing roughly.
Wow.
How much did it think that that team was worth?
According to Run the Sims, you got $7.86 out of that one.
Dude, $7 at a time?
$7.48. Sorry, excuse me.
$7.50 at a time, bro.
Yeah, you put what?
Pretty
5
good.
in?
Easy.
Yeah,
we're getting
$2.50. Just like book it, straight into the pocket. Do you want to do one more of these, or do you want to switch to Thursday, Sunday, or
are the Thursday, Sunday games good? Like, are these going to be games I want to watch?
Well, that's a fair question.
What's the what it is? I was gonna say I don't remember what the Monday game is.
Okay, it's Cowboys, Giants, and then Bills, Ravens. All right,
we'll do one of these. The thing is, so we could definitely do this because it's good. It's good instruction and everything. I don't love doing these because I am not gonna max them.
Sure.
Like I just don't. It's like I got enough time, or I have enough time to max one or the other thing, but not both. And I like the mains more.
Sure.
But this is honestly, these are better exercises for the Sims. It's less things for it to juggle.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm running the blend for this one.
Okay.
It's also very suited for an equilibrium strategy.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of strategy.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm just going to give some meta here that I discovered when I played these last night. So what I found with my stuff was the software was trying very hard. No, excuse me. The players I played against were trying really hard to avoid getting stuck with Daniels. Excuse me, avoiding getting stuck with Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
And as a result, I got a lot of Daniel Jones teams that I really liked because it thought people are giving up too much draft capital to avoid getting stuck with the last quarterback pick. So predict that's going to happen a lot.
This is like crazy. Zach Lowe got laid off by ESPN. All right, CeeDee Lamb.
It's gonna be Neighbors. Yeah. For this one. So after this draft, we can get one of these under our belt, and then we can look at the curves for the different players, because in these games, looking at the projection drop-offs and where they are is really important to figuring out what you're supposed to do. There goes Derrick Henry. Singletary. Yeah. So far, this draft is going pretty conventionally.
Pretty conventional. Well, I mean, we got 4 red badges in here
Yeah,
on a
4
Thursday
badges.
afternoon.
So now it's saying you could do Shakir, you could do Lamar, you could do. I think it likes Lamar a little bit better here. Let's take Lamar now. But it's close. I don't know. It's going to be some kind of mix.
I'm incredibly curious to see how it handles tight end.
It's going to change it up a fair bit. I think is the answer. So it's gonna switch it up. There goes Josh Allen. You're very happy to see that.
You're right. Yeah.
Because that's one less pick you have to fight over. Khalil goes. Now it's gonna give you. It's giving you Wan'Dale Robinson at the moment. It's also giving you Jake Ferguson. Those are very close right now. Like they're just oscillating between them, basically. So, no ball moment.
My gut is just that Ferguson is a better pick.
Good reason to do that.
Just makes intuitive sense that he and Kincaid are kind of the only tight ends who can score a lot of points on this slate that has Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. So I guess maybe my gut is wrong.
So this dynamic where Dak Prescott went on the 3-4 turn is something I've been seeing in most drafts that start this way. And it really, according to my software, it rebounds to the benefit of the third player who now can take quarterback last and just load up on everything else, right?
Yeah.
So he got, if you believe the sim and the projections, right? Which is a big if. So
Daniel Jones could definitely score 22 points. Like that, it's definitely very real.
Okay, we've got the pick. It's saying Bateman here, which makes sense. Saying Bateman, you could also do Dowdle here if you want. Yeah, and Dowdle's winning right this second. Cooks, it thinks is okay. It actually likes Dowdle the best right now.
That was my instinct as well. Fucking Bateman on these prime times.
Buy low candidates, Davis. Are these buy low candidates? Generally speaking, how about? I was going to name them. Laporta.
Yes, very good buy low.
How about Zay Flowers?
Yeah, also yes.
Zay
Flowers probably. Pacheco broke his leg.
Yeah, that's right. He's out.
Okay, so,
ETN.
All right, we're up. It thinks you could take. It likes Cooks. It likes Slayton. It likes Bateman. It likes Cook the most at the moment. Yeah.
Well, the sim doesn't know ball because Keon Coleman is the best pick, but we will take Brandon Cooks. ETN, I'm less in on as a buy low, Brian. I think there's like structural reasons in that offense to just think they all suck.
Well, there's kind of those are good examples of guys who aren't buy low, like Rashad White, right?
Well, Bucky Irving just missed practice, so
okay. Well, I didn't know that.
Probably going to get one more week there.
I did not know that.
Okay, what are we looking at here? You could take. Wow, that's weird. It likes Ezekiel Elliott here, but you already have. Maybe it's fine. It likes Ezekiel Elliott and then Keon Coleman below that.
I took Justice Hill.
Okay.
Just out of sheer panic. Probably wasn't even a good pick.
So it's interesting that it doesn't dislike taking both of the running backs.
The Dallas running backs, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know how seriously to take that. I think in a very large multi-game slate, that would be very suspicious. but perhaps in a 2-gamer it matters a lot less.
Well, a two gamer where they're 6-point favorites. Like the Sims are saying the run rate for the team is going to be pretty high because they're favorites, all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. So.
Cool. All right. We can do another one of those.
Sure.
They're pretty fun. They go very quickly.
They do.
Is Zach Lowe getting hired for Endgame Syndicate? He's going to build the basketball sim.
If he wants.
All
right.
So
we have the first pick.
Yeah, this one is just always CD Lamb, I think. Let me just double check that. Although it's the difference between picking Lamb and picking Neighbors. Let's see how big it thinks it is. Although this is very noisy, even this small of a game. If I'd have to run it for like several minutes for it to really figure everything out. I'll just let it cook for the time.
All right, Underdog, give us the NerdyTenor Sim special 5-minute primetime Palooza clock. It'd be interesting.
All right, yeah, CD Lamb, you just take CD Lamb. And it thinks it is better than Neighbors, at least for how long I ran it.
Do you think, given how long the time is between picks, that you could ever build something like this for Best Ball Mania? Or is there just way too much going on?
It's so hard. You have to handle the playoffs, and you have to project every game in the season, right? I'm in no position to do that. And then you have to count for things like injury risk over the course of the season. So it's saying Kincaid or Lamar. It's probably going to ask that you take both, I'm guessing.
We'll do Lamar.
Okay, Lamar is taken. And now let's see what it says next. Oh, actually, no. Let's change it. Oh, no, it's coming out. Oh, I was wrong what I said first. It says Wandale, Kincaid, Shakir at the moment. They're very close. Kincaid, Robinson. God, that's everything up there. Just draft somebody plausible. It can't make up its mind. It's
I'll do Kincaid.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, this would be a good bit. Dan just stays locked in at his computer for 2 weeks while he does a slow Best Ball Mania, simming out every pick.
It takes me $500 in compute time, right?
Yeah. And you might draft a team worth $32.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah. In principle, you could parallelize all this stuff and make like a gigantic computer, but the stakes are so small that it wouldn't be worth doing. Okay, so yeah, there goes all the quarterbacks. All right, we're up. So it's saying Isaiah likely. It's saying,
double tight end.
Yeah, interesting, huh? Yeah, I like that.
Well, yeah, the running backs left suck.
You're gonna be taking one though.
All right.
So we're taking
Elliott. Come on down, brother.
Yeah, let's see. Yep, and it wants. Oh wow, it still wants to wait on. No. So Brandon Cooks, Ezekiel Elliott, similar EV right now. Zeke slightly winning, and yeah, Elliott winning.
Oh, so I'm assuming it's going to want Prescott at the end. Oh, no, someone took Prescott already.
Yeah, no, we've got Lamar. So we get Ezekiel Elliott here, I guess.
Oh, I took Cooks. My fingers were too slow.
It's okay.
My fingers were too slow.
That's just like dozens of pennies out the window. God damn it.
Dozens. God damn. These drafts, man, these are. I'll tell you what, I would not do these on my own volition. This
They're
is like
very different.
I prefer Showdown. I think if for a theory fest, I prefer the theory fest of Showdown.
I get that. This is it's such a radically different game. I mean, it's so different. I actually, this is the kind of stuff I like to do. I mean,
right? Yeah, I was like, because this is just all like the player takes, like toss it all out the window, just stick it in the computer and take Brandon Cooks when you want to take Keon Coleman.
now we have to take we take Justice Hill, I guess. Yep. So I think your first draft, it thought you were winning a little, and this one, it thought you were losing a little, and they were about the same.
All right.
It doesn't like drafting first in this one either. I think so. This is not scientific, but the small number of drafts I had, when people made mistakes, it often was the second drafter that really collected. I don't know why. That could just be random. But the second drafter was just like things would happen. Like it would go, it would go Lamb Neighbors, and then it would go like Lamar, which probably is. I think my software might disagree, but I doubt that's a huge mistake or anything. It could be good. It would go like Lamar, and then it would go like Allen, and then the fact that those two quarterbacks got picked just meant that there's like this buffet of everything else for you to gnaw on as to the other two drafters. Like, and it would often be the second guy who got the most value out of it, which I found very interesting. So so the flip side of what I was saying at the beginning, where like my software was much less worried about getting stuck with Daniel Jones than the field was, is that it was much less horny for Josh Allen. So I got
that is interesting.
I got very few Josh Allen teams, and I don't think it's because, again, I don't think it thought Josh Allen is bad. It's just everybody was drafting him a bit sooner than it would have, and so it just, I think I got like out of 10, I got like one Josh Allen team, which was interesting. And
how many cents of EV did you pick up there?
Me, I don't know, a few.
Not enough.
Dozens.
I mean, imagine you just ship 20K testing out a tool. Pretty fun.
That would be useful. Can finally buy the keyboard of my dreams.
Amazing. All right, you want to load the main back up? Who are some who are some of these other buy low players, Brian? Who are we buying low on?
Oh, okay. Back to the list.
Do you want to go blend, or do we want to go straight RT run the Sims?
Up to you. You're the boss.
Let's go blendy. I think it's gonna be a little. Well, I don't know. I'll flip a coin.
This one I think's a clear not buy low. Keenan Allen.
I agree. Clear not buy low.
What about this one? Christian Kirk.
Yeah, buy low.
Okay. And if these guys are hurt, whatever, I'm not paying attention. We already talked about Worthy, clear buy low, right?
Yes. No? Yeah, I think so.
Christian Watson.
Get some.
No, he's starting to lose routes. Christian Watson is.
I got no Christian Watson.
What about Lad McConkey? Well, I guess now that what's his
quarterbacks name? They're like more run heavy than we even thought they were. We thought they were going to be run heavy, and they said you guys ain't seen shit yet. Like
this buy low. I wouldn't, or I think a fake buy low. DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes. Yeah. He's not even running full routes. He's like really hurt.
Brian Thomas.
Uh,
Yeah, I think so.
0.3% Brian Thomas at the moment.
That could be fun. That could be a true buy low.
Yeah, Isn't this what Lawrence does every year? Kind of doesn't do much, and then he wins someone $1 million. Like 1 week.
Yeah, I mean he's terrible though.
He just needs one of those comeback double OT games or whatever. Like he gets 25 fantasy points in the fourth quarter, 10 in OT.
Okay, we're up.
I mean, sure. Yeah, we're up. Brees, Jefferson, Barkley.
It wants Bijan or Rashi Rice or Kyron Williams. It's close between Nico Collins made an appearance. Bijan. Jordan Mason has made an appearance.
I'll do Bijan.
Bijan, yeah.
Although I think Rice is probably better.
You might get him.
That's
Might get him.
So that's
You might get him on the very next.
Yeah,
next
you might get him. Yeah.
Nope, you will not get him.
Sadly, we are excluded.
So Mason disappeared.
This is a full slate, right? Yeah.
12, I think. 12 games.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
All right. We are up. Rice, Mason, Chase. We are up in one pick. Kyron is still there for us.
Nico Collins went?
Nico Collins did go.
Okay, so it's giving... it's giving Kyron Williams, Jonathan Taylor, Jaden Daniels, Alvin Kamara. It likes Kyron the best. Pretty significant amount at the moment. Kyron is winning by like $1.
Gotta add in $1. What's the most dollars that a pick would ever add? Like let's just say hypothetically, a first overall pick. Like let's say Barkley was projected for 32 points and no other player was projected for higher than 20. Would that make my getting the 101? Would that be like, oh, you just immediately made $20?
Wait, say that again. Sorry, I was head and keyboard there.
Okay, let's imagine Barkley is projected for 32 points.
Okay.
No one else is projected for 20.
Yeah.
Does just drawing the 101 immediately make you $20?
Yeah, it's going to be something like this. So when I simmed it out for basketball-inspired games, you do see this dynamic where, there's 2 superstars on the slate, and they're 15 points projected higher, and it makes a huge difference in your EV just on what pick you get. Just a gigantic. It's just nothing you can do about it. And they're always picked first and second, and they should always be picked first and second, because they're just worth so much more than everyone else.
Right.
I have seen that much less in football, obviously. There's so many more options, and very few of them are just wildly better than anyone else.
Wildly better, right?
Yeah.
We
see it in the two-gamer. The two-gamers, you'll see, or maybe there's only 2 good tight ends. So yeah,
I mentioned in the 2-gamer it might even be more money. If you get the 1.1 since you're playing against 4 people. We talk a lot about this in our videos on EndGame, by the way, if anyone wants to get more deep into that type of stuff.
Yep.
Harrison, Connor, Kamara. Connor before Kamara. That's weird. Ayuk, Godwin. This guy's going to take Kyler Murray.
I think the one of the main reasons that effect also happens is in DFS, there's no cap on how many people can take them.
Right.
In snake drafts, there is, because only one person per draft can take them.
So Jonathan Taylor goes. So
Goddard is, I bet. Who is
likes Goddard and Stroud.
Stroud, huh? Stroud over Murray.
Yep.
All right, who's winning?
They're very close. They're very close, Goddard and Stroud right now.
We'll go Goddard.
Okay.
I was about to change it, and I didn't.
Okay, we got. Kelsey goes. This is also a dynamic you like to see where sometimes if the penalty for acting first on a position is mitigated by the fact that you incentivize others to start taking them.
Right.
So like,
and there is a drop off at tight end this week. Like, so let's imagine Kittle doesn't play. So let's imagine this is a real Q tag and he doesn't go, and McBride doesn't go. There's a pretty big drop off in projection from Pitts, and honestly, even from Bowers to Pitts, and then from Pitts to Komet.
Right. So you taking Goddard and then 2 tight ends being taken right after is a best case scenario because now they can only there goes Stroud, and here goes somebody else.
Yeah, I think Stroud I think is a pretty good pick this week, and I think the idea of him not being like 100% owned is also pretty crazy. Although him and it is funny, he and Anthony Richardson have the same amount of fantasy points on the year, which you would not think the way people talk about them.
Here we go.
It's gonna want us to take Hurts, I bet.
So it has a whole bunch of options.
Okay.
Daniels, Reid, London, Fields, Hurts.
Fields is pretty fun.
Yeah, that is fun, isn't it?
Who's winning?
Daniels and Hurts are neck and neck. We did Daniels already, didn't we?
Yeah, I took.
Yeah, let's take
Hurts was at the top. We have Goddard.
Does somebody ask what I'm yapping about and if I'm selling a product? Obviously, if you're paying attention, it's loud keyboards. So
it is loud keyboards. That's the product. It is. Look, if you want the loudest mechanical keyboard in the world, come down to NerdyTenor's Keyboard Emporium and discount mouses.
Use promo code ShortKing.
Promo code ShortKing. I'm assuming it just is mixing things. It's just like some of the times you just want to take Fields, who's projected for like 17 points and 1% owned. Like you know.
That's exactly it. Yeah. I mean, we can talk about this when the draft's over, but there are spots where clearly, like, you can just reason about it from first principles. Like, if you get in the same spot, like, and that spot is relatively common, it can't be correct to just always do the same thing in that spot, because if everybody did that, then you're printing by not doing that. And that's why you get situations where you have to mix your strategy, because otherwise you can't be at equilibrium then, right? If you're doing something that creates massive EV for somebody, then you're not at equilibrium by definition, right? Does that make sense? Sort of.
It does. Yeah, it does make sense. It does.
Okay, we're up. So now it's given Olave, Moore, Pickens, Olave, Wilson. So
DJ Moore could be a buy low, kind of.
I like DJ Moore. I'm clicking him. I'm clicking him this week. Yeah, the Sims are saying Fields never really gets taken, and he projects for like 18 points, but sometimes he gets 27, sometimes he gets 29, and if he gets 29 points more often than the field thinks he gets 29 points, basically, then sometimes you should take him there.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
I will when I get off the stream, I will check my email, sir.
Sweet. There goes Chuba. Someone was talking about Chuba Hubbard.
The email's like, do not have those nerds on your please do not
get these nerds out of here, bro.
Right.
Yeah, this was the thesis behind people playing Caleb Williams last week, but no one wants to play Fields. All right, we're up.
Garrett Wilson.
It's gonna say Olave, or Garrett Wilson went.
What the? Okay. Yeah, Olave's winning. You're right. Olave, it has Shaheed up there.
Shaheed, great example. Shaheed was
Adams. It likes Olave the best by about 80 cents. 50 cents now. Shaheed, Adams. Oh, Jawan Jennings in fourth, but that's like $1 less good.
It's so funny. Like Shaheed last week, awful pick. Like a 20% drafted Rashid Shaheed has got to be like terrible. Now that he's back down to being on like, you know, what does Brian have him here? What is the EndGame Syndicate have him for? Doesn't even have an ownership projection.
For who?
Rashid Shaheed. Now he's a good pick. Now he's a good pick.
So which one did you end up getting?
I took Olave.
Olave, yeah. Yep, and it thinks your team is worth $6.78.
Dude, we are just racking up.
Printing those pennies, man. Just stamp them out.
Does she have a name thing? Maybe? No, right?
No. You know what's funny is someone in Pete's Discord has been running post-looking BRs of just being like looking at the outcomes, and my teams look terrible and whatever. Well, I don't even know what this guy did, but he's like, I have like no top 5th percentile range of outcome teams anywhere.
How funny.
Yeah. Was like, I don't know. I guess I'm playing bad, brother. I think it probably means I'm just scrolling way too often. I would guess. I'm giving up a lot of points and just scrolling too much.
That would be my guess as well. So we talked about this before. This is just you're just inspiring discussion about something we talked about before, where there's this effect where, like, especially in correlated sports, where you have a lot of things to consider. You've got projection, and you've got the correlation, and you've got, you know, the rareness of your combinations and your scroll downs and whatnot. So like the further away you get from, let's say the average team is projected for 95 points. Let's just say that, or 80 points or whatever, 80 points average. So if you chart like your projected points through the draft, and like maybe you do one draft and you're just right on target and you hit that number exactly, right? If you make some picks that get you under that number, the software is going to say the next picks you make should be more highly projected.
Should be the really highly owned, but really, if you take a detour for Justin Fields, you better take Olave with your next pick, or then you've really owned yourself. You're really dead.
It's almost like there's this center of gravity back up, but it doesn't often work in the opposite direction. So, like, we've talked about this too. If the field that you're drafting in hands you equity,
you got to take it.
You take it because you're going to be high projected, and your team is also going to be weird. It's going to be lower owned. So,
right.
So you don't get the same incentive to go toward the middle. It's more that, like, when you sacrifice projection early, you're incentivized to recover it later. Seems to be the pattern, which makes intuitive sense to me.
I was gonna say, yeah, that makes sense to me. And I mean, this is honestly probably more of my thing that I do is I just play very exploitatively. And so instead of, like, a good player might take Jayden Reed 10% of the time, and I'm like, fuck that. If I think Jayden Reed is the man, I want Jayden Reed on 30% of my teams. You know, like that's just how I want to play.
Yep.
A DFS player might not understand what Dan was just getting at too, because if Jamar Chase falls to Davis here, we're saying you just gobble that EV because first of all you get the projected points, but also you're unique in that that rarely or never happens. So even though they're both 100% owned, you're still different, even though you're taking chalk. Where in DFS, Barkley and Chase are going to be combined owned, whatever percentage it is, and that's just the way it is.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, friends watching this. The DFS video with Jakob just came out. If you guys want to give it a click or a like,
Sweet.
that would be.
Hey, Davis, do you know how to?
Oh shit! I'm on the clock and not paying attention.
I'm behind.
No, I'm not.
What-
I'm not.
what-
I'm not.
Let me see that. Oh no, you're good.
No, he's got time. He's got time.
Okay.
The tab was still showing I was on the clock from the first pick.
Do you have raids set up on your YouTube channel?
Raids?
Yeah, I was gonna say you could raid.
I
You could
believe
raid
that is Twitch only.
lulls for me. No, it's on here too.
Oh no! I can do this.
Yeah.
I can literally do it right now. Yeah. What time do you guys start?
12:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me make these picks with Dan, and then I will set it up.
Sweet.
God, it is crazy that drop off at oh, we just gained. Dan, I predict that we just gained $1.13 in EV by being able to get Jordan Mason.
Jordan Mason is popping. Why don't you grab him? Yeah, go ahead and take him. So I'll start solving.
So this is a big difference between how things work out in actuality versus how things are simmed. Because guess what? The Sims do not know that Juwan Jennings is going to score 44 points. The Sims think Juwan Jennings is going to score between 6.4 and 14.3 points based on how the computer literally does not know that Juwan Jennings is capable of that performance.
So now it is. We got another pick to do real quick. It likes Goddard the most here, and then yeah, it likes Goddard.
I'm calling an audible.
Okay. Hit it. What'd you get?
I don't. Well, I've just continually been doing this, and I have realized that I have a lot of Barkley and Goddard together, which is just the most ass pattern matching thing I just saw doing again this week. Not to say that it's bad, especially if AJ Brown and Devonta Smith are out. Like, they still have a healthy team total. The Buccaneers defense isn't that good. They're gonna get the ball a lot, whatever. Yep. But I don't want, if I get, like, let's say 150 divided by 6, whatever that is, I get that many Saquon Barkleys. I don't want all of those. I don't even want half of those to be with Goddard. I'd like like 20% of them to be with Goddard or whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So it did not hate your pick for what it's worth. It just ranked it like 6th or something. Yeah.
That's a feel play for me. I think they're gonna move heaven and earth to get him a touchdown this week, which literally one touchdown might be enough to make a tight end optimal in BR.
Yep.
Back to the undrafted players argument. First of all, you could still take Chase in the second round there and still get 4 undrafted players. So, like, technically you still could do that and gobble up that EV that your opponents just screwed up. But saying something like 4 undrafted players is basically like saying the projections don't really matter, or that the variance is so high, projections are kind of worthless, simming is kind of worthless. Right. So, like, that, maybe that's so. I mean, I would assume that, you'd have to prove that. I mean, I doubt it.
People do think that. I get a lot of comments on this and other videos that basically people are like, yeah, Sims are stupid. You can't learn anything.
But, like, that's the only logical argument, because they don't really have any evidence otherwise. So they have to say
the projections are bad.
Projections are bad. The variance is too high. And I'm actually probably making a better argument than they would. Like, I would, so, like, just saying I saw four undrafted players win a bunch of times is not a way to, like, improve.
It likes Garrett Wilson. It likes Caleb Williams. It's fun. Stroud.
Caleb Davis. Caleb, damn you.
No, I'll do it if I get it quick enough. I didn't. I tried.
He paused. He paused on purpose. Go back.
No, I tried because I thought it would be fun.
The quickest fingers in the West, and
I did.
Stroud. You did. Okay, now it's just got wide receiver to think about, so it should be smart. I mean, It wants Diggs again. This is similar to one of your other teams, right?
Yeah, now you gotta.
You got to take Diggs.
Yeah.
Uh,
Your camera overheat, Dan?
Oh no! What? Where did I go?
He comes back. He's naked.
I'm trying.
I'm on a sex swing, rolling back and forth. Well, I can see you. I don't know what happened.
I'm trying to do the redirect right now. It's not going that well because I'm a bit of a boomer.
Ah.
But I am trying. Lulls with Pete and Brick, DFS betting, and more. Wow, you guys. I have to ask Peter to do it. I can't do it yet. Next week, when we do this next week, Brian, I will be able to.
You know what really screws me up the most about this slate is having to remember how to spell Juwan Jennings correctly each time with that initial A.
You know what? It gets me every time too. It gets me absolutely every time.
What? It's like Juwan Jennings, player not found. Juwan Jennings, still not found. I'm like, wait, what? I'll fix my camera after this draft. I don't know what's going on. Oh, did I just click it? Hey!
There you go.
I fat fingered the stop camera button.
This is a good point. People play Juwan Jennings was 14% owned in salary cap DFS. So they're he definitely probably should have been picked more than he was. I'm gonna predict. Well, actually, I don't even have to predict. I know exactly who the Sims are gonna like. It's gonna Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. But I'm gonna throw the Sims a curveball, and I'm gonna tell it. What does it think if we take Jaden Reed at this pick? How many cents is it gonna give me?
I'll let you know.
Didn't Reed go in the third after we mentioned him earlier?
Yeah, well, that's what we do.
All right, give it time.
I'm letting it cook.
Matt, let homie cook. Okay, who are you thinking about taking? Oh wow! Oh no, it likes Garrett Wilson. It likes Tank Dell if you want to double up, but Garrett Wilson is up top right now.
I think it sounds like he's not going to play. Tank
Well,
Dell.
then let's take him. It likes Garrett Wilson the most. Who do you want to take?
I want to take Jaden Reed. I took Jaden Reed, so tell me how many cents I just gave up.
Okay. Garrett, well, the difference between Wilson and Reed was about $1, thanks.
Whoa,
that seems... So I wouldn't take that number very seriously. I think...
Davis, you have a puppy to take care of. You can't be making these rash decisions.
I'm going to let it run. I'm going to let that last pick run now while we talk, and we'll see if it balances itself out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna look, man. I'm gonna make that money up in the $7.33 in ads I get for running these videos.
Wow!
Somebody called me out. I don't have this keyboard's not actually connected to anything. I'm just pure audio. It's disconnected from.
You got a player list of names. Jalen Reed. It really likes. Chris.
Turns out Dan just really knows ball.
That's it.
Who do you like, Davis? Oh yeah, it likes him too.
Okay.
Dan's a complete fraud. That'd be great. NerdyTenor is like some small little Asian guy living in Canada. He just doesn't know you totally co-opted his personality.
Completely co-opted. Yeah, that's so funny.
So I want to look at the projection average difference between these two in my blend. So Jaden Reed, what does it have? 12.6, and then Garrett Wilson has 14.6. Those numbers are not. Those are just relative numbers. They're not exactly fantasy points. I don't want to bore you with the details, but that's a difference.
Does it know that Garrett Wilson drools and Jaden Reed rules? Did you write that? Did you write that part into the code?
I'll add that for next week.
It knows vibes, but it doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. It's been cooking for a bit. So at the end, it said Garrett Wilson, $5.87, And then Jaden Reed, $4.68.
So I just paid the rake.
Maybe.
I just paid the rake. I just paid the rake for my opponents. All right, let's do one more, and then we can get out of here. And Brian can hop and do lols. I tried to do the redirect. The redirect did not work.
It won't work. You have to enable it, I think.
Pete has to enable it, and I don't know. I don't know what he's doing right now, and I don't want to bother him.
I'll bother him.
We got the 4.
I think he already has it enabled.
It's not enabled for me though. The thing is it does know about Aaron Jones's revenge game because he is projected for a shit ton of points.
Yeah.
We just have been taking early running backs, so we haven't had a running back. The one time we didn't take an early running back, it gave us Aaron Jones. And I'm assuming it's calculating for that, like value over replacement at a position, like, oh, there are a lot more wide receiver points available, so we should take wide receivers late type thing.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing I think it should be good at, I would imagine.
I already updated it. Try it now, Davis.
Okay.
That'd be a fun model to make one day. We don't have the time, Dan, but we could just put in all the narrative thing. So revenge game, birthday, just put bonuses in there, and then have a narrative sim.
I mean, if you're not trying to, I thought if you were trying to do the thing to make money, you do the thing that graded people's BBM teams, but you don't like money enough.
Oh shit, we're started.
Yeah, we're up. It's fine. You could just put in Justin Jefferson for our pick.
Very good. Yeah, let's get a JJ team. See what it does.
Okay. Customization, redirect. Wow, there we go. The redirect is added in, brother. How about that?
Sweet.
So when this is done, you guys are just going to be able to go right over to LOLs. Do you co-stream that on your channels too, or is that just on?
No,
Pete's?
Not anymore. I did for a while. We were trying to get everyone on one thing.
Yeah. I've been wondering if I should do that with ADP chasing on my channel. It's probably not worth it.
Where do you normally stream it?
On skip chasing.
No, I would do it once in a while. I would probably do it once in a while.
Oh. All right. So now suggesting like San Francisco, Ayuk or Mason at this point. Let's see. This is Nico Collins also appearing. Very close. Mason, Kamara, Collins, Ayuk right now.
Let's do Mason.
Okay.
I am a paid associate of EndGameSyndicate.com, so that's how much Brian is paying me. And I'm happy to do it. I'm happy. People have been making jokes about my sidebar at the bottom. It's gonna be like I'm gonna be like a NASCAR driver. I'm like, dude, we just gotta fill the whole thing up. I gotta add in some more partnerships.
You have some space on your shoulders and your hat.
Yeah, there's room. There's this empty space up here at the top next to my name. There's plenty of space left to add in. We could put there's all I need a Diet Coke sponsorship is what I need. I've been angling for that one for a long time. If anyone knows anyone who works for the Coca-Cola Corporation, hit me up.
I do not.
Wow. I'm a Diet Pepsi man, Davis.
That is foul, Brian. That's literally disgusting to me.
I'm a contrarian, Davis. You know this.
Okay, what do we got? Oh, Najee Harris.
He sees that Brock Bowers. He just auto
Brandon Ayuk. You can take Brock Bowers, but he's like the 12th. No, he's like the 20th pick in my list.
We're doing Najee.
Najee? Okay.
I would be interested in this. If anyone is doing VR analysis, if they could just how different my teams are before I do this stream with you and then after. So like I do all my teams. I've done 100 teams or whatever before, and then I do these and I start thinking about it differently. And also the projections come out about now. and I wonder how different my teams are. This is literally insane, dude. Diet Pepsi is fucking gross. Brian,
He
this
seems
is
like a
of all-
smart guy.
My stepmother is addicted to it. It's
He's got
So-
Socrates in his name.
okay. It's giving Jaden Daniels, Drake London, C.J. Stroud, Kyle Pitts, Garrett Wilson.
Let's
Sam
do
Darnold.
let's do Daniels. I don't think we've taken him yet because I want to see
Okay.
what it does with
Uh-huh.
McLaurin.
Okay.
Yeah, look, everyone knows that aspartame is bad. That's not what we're arguing about.
Tastes so nasty.
This is also insane. Like this is also guys. Diet Coke is so much better than Diet Pepsi.
I can't drink any of these. Like even if you said, look, you get to turn into a mutant, I still wouldn't freaking drink it. Like it tastes too bad. Not worth it.
Whatever the mainstream thing is, Davis is going to believe it and want it.
No, that's what I was about to say.
That's
Is Brian, you being a Diet Pepsi over Diet Coke guy is more offensive to me than any of your bullshit political takes ever. Like that, like honestly, that is the thing where I most been like, dude, I cannot agree with what you just said. Okay. Does it want McLaurin?
That's going to be what we find out. I think there's a good chance, yes. I think odds are good, but we'll see in a second. Somebody could take them, right? I guess.
No one. If you know what? Actually, unstacked McLaurin might be such a dog shit pick that it's actually a good pick because literally no one's doing
Nobody does it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like McLaurin without Kyler or without Daniels has to actually like be a good pick because it's so bad.
That's so funny.
Pepsi Zero, I have tried. It's better than Diet Pepsi.
You know what's really good is Barks Root Beer Zero.
Ooh.
It's the best root beer, Diet Root Beer, and they just rebranded it. It's literally just Diet Barks, but it wasn't selling as well, so they changed it to zero sugar, and now it's selling.
Wow, it doesn't. It's so funny. It is not. Wow, it's saying take tight end now. It's saying Hunter Henry.
I'm gonna take
Henry. McLaurin is ranked third now, so it's got a couple tight ends, and then it's got Terry. Next.
I'm gonna take Kittle, so it leaves me a swap.
Okay. Gotcha.
Chad says Diet Pepsi is a litmus test of whether someone has genuine opinions or is just reflexively contrarian. Zero chance someone with taste buds enjoys that. I agree. Chad is on the ball. That's literally just Brian wanting to be a.
But his conclusion's wrong. It is a litmus test, but your conclusion's wrong.
They got a really.
I would try this. I would try ginger ale zero because I really like ginger ale, but it is so much sugar.
They make a root beer at my local brewery, and they make an alcoholic version of it, and it is extremely dangerous. You could just.
I was gonna say you could just throw that down.
Oh my god. Okay, now it wants McLaurin. Yeah. Yep.
What is it? Okay, just devil.
But the thing is, it's going to be confused by your Kittle pick, so the EV is going to be all off.
What is the difference in EV with Reid?
Very small.
Okay, I'm gonna do that then.
Wilson, Reid, McLaurin. It's got a lot of choices. It thinks they're about the same. It hates your team, but that's because it doesn't understand what you did.
Yeah, it thinks Kittle's projected for 0 points.
Or very low.
Yeah.
That's all that is.
That's funny because I think that's like maybe one of the best teams we did. Like really good. I think Najee's going to end up being more owned than the computer thinks right now, but not crazy. Mason, I think, is a total smash. Daniels, I think, is a total smash. Jefferson and Reid are obviously smashes. And then Kittle is either going to play and be under-owned or not going to play and be Cole Kmet or someone who I want.
Cool.
All right. There we go. Guys, we did it. Brian, anything in particular you want to send people at Endgame this week?
No, I don't think so. Well, I said at latest videos that are for beginners. Someone seemed like they might be interested in that in chat. Ownership. I was messaging Dan live on the stream because I didn't want to forget. I have an idea for maybe improving the ownership projections a little bit for those tail owned guys. So we got ownership. I don't know what's next.
People who are on the internet are too woke to full sugar soda. I really don't know anyone who drinks full sugar soda, but everyone I know drinks diet soda.
It's way more popular than when we were younger. Sure.
When is the last time you just were like, you know what, I'm gonna drink a 300 fucking calorie Coke?
I do it at the movie theater.
I get an icy at the movie theater, which is the same.
Yeah, I will occasionally do it instead of a beer at a Mexican restaurant.
Sure.
No, I also prefer the Cokes with cane sugar.
Yeah, Mexican Coke.
It just tastes better, I think.
It does. Yeah. It does. Yeah, Mexican Cokes are good, but dude, if I'm gonna go I'm dialed in right now, so I'm just chicken and rice for dinner every night. Like I'm just having a Diet Coke with that. I needed something. I'm not having chicken and rice and water with a mango, dude. You know, it's just like that. It's like I need a Diet Coke. All right, guys. Endgame Syndicate. Check it out. Like the video, subscribe to the videos, comment below if timestamps, if you guys are into that. I will track them for this. I did not for this one. I can go back in and add them. I'll be back tomorrow, the stream with Rich tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central. And then how about this? Big T is going to be making his debut on the Davis Mattek channel tomorrow. We are going to be building some fucking shippers on the Underdog Pick'em show. And I'll be back tomorrow. I will see y'all